Good morning.
Good morning.
What are we learning about today?
Biography.
Say it again.
Biography.
Who can read for me what a biography is?
To inform the reader about a person's life.
Very good. So again, today we will be looking at another Black history icon, Martin Luther King. We'll be looking at his childhood, his challenges, his character traits, and the legacy that he left behind. Also, we'll be looking at a timeline, okay? So as you know, today is Black History, it's the first day of Black History Month, and the first person that we have chosen to look at is Martin Luther King, and we will share some facts about him, and we will talk about his life, okay? It says, let's read about Martin Luther King Jr. by Courtney Baker. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. What am I going to do with this date? I'm going to put it on the timeline, exactly. So it says that he was born January 15th, 1929 in Georgia. We're going to put that right here on our timeline, okay? And then we're going to continue reading. He lived with his parents. He had an older sister and a younger brother. That's him and his family. Martin's father was a minister. A minister is a person in the church. Martin grew up listening to his father speak in church. The people at church liked the way Martin's father spoke. They sang and clapped as Martin Luther King's father and the people of the church. Martin knew the people in church. He lived near them. He went to school with them. He saw them on the streets. So he was very familiar with the neighborhood people. Okay? Sometimes Martin went to the city with his family. He saw signs that said whites only at the park and at the movies. And if you look closely in the pictures, you will see it as well. Okay? So during this time in his life, what was happening was Black people had to eat and drink in a certain place, and white people had to eat and drink in a certain place, but they couldn't mix together at this time, okay? This meant that Martin and his family could not go to those places. Martin felt that Black people should be able to do the same thing and go to the same places as white people. When he was 6, he had a friend who was white. They liked each other and they played together. All right, let's stop for a minute and talk about Martin Luther King Jr.'s childhood. When and where did Martin Luther King grow up? Yes. Atlanta, Georgia. What about his family? Who was in his family? Yes. His brothers and sisters he grew up with, and his mom and dad. And later on he had a what?
Education.
A friend who was white. So we'll put that right there for his childhood. But soon the boy's parents said that they did not want their son to play with Martin any longer. Martin felt very bad. He was sad that he had to stop playing with his friend. Why do you think that the parents made the boy stop playing with him? Yes?
Because they said the white and the Black cannot go to the same places.
Because she felt that most likely the color of his skin, she didn't want him playing with her son who was white. That That day, Martin's mother told him, "You're as good as anyone else, and don't you forget it." Martin felt better. He knew that the boy's parents did not really know him. If they had, they would have seen how nice and smart Martin was. So do you see, he's basically just being judged by the color of his skin. He's a really nice, sweet boy at this time. And the parents don't know him well enough to say, "I don't want you playing with my son." But just the fact that his skin was brown, they decided that that wasn't a good fit. You see that? How that posed a problem and how that could have made, how do you think that made Martin feel inside? Sad. He lost a friend for absolutely no reason or none that he can control. Okay? When he was 8, Martin worked as a new. Martin used the money he earned to buy books. He read about people who fought racism. Racism is the idea that people who are different colors are not equal. Martin thought that all people were equal. He wanted to fight racism too. Martin became a minister like his father. Martin gave speeches and talked about equality, meaning he wants everyone to be equal no matter what color you are. He traveled to speak to church groups and large crowds. He spoke to a crowd of 250,000 people in Washington, D.C. He spoke about his dream for the future. "I have a dream," Martin said, "that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character," meaning how you are on the inside, not just being judged by the color of your skin. Okay? Who can tell me what challenges that Martin Luther King faced growing up? Yes. He lost a friend due to his skin color, yes. What do you call that? When people judge you by the color of your skin? Racism. While he was a little boy, okay? What obstacles did he have to overcome? He had to overcome racism, which was huge at a time that he was in. That also shaped his personality because he had to work through that, okay? That is something that you have to work through, especially when you're losing friends and you're losing people that you're close to, or you can't even get close to someone just because of the color of your skin, okay? What kind of person would you describe Martin Luther King as? We could say he was clever, he was a minister. What other character traits could we say for Martin Luther King? Yes. He was brave. What else can we use in the back? Yes. We got smart already? Yes.
Thoughtful.
He was thoughtful. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Was he helpful?
He was helpful. Yes. He was caring, absolutely. He cared about people. Yes.
He was confident.
He was confident to get up on the podium and speak to 250,000 people. Anything else? I would say he was determined and hopeful that one day black and white people will be able to come to school and mix together and share unity. So we'll put determined and hopeful. Okay? Some people did not like what Martin was saying. Most people did. Martin helped to change the way people thought and acted towards one another, which that was his goal, right? He's goal-oriented. He wanted this. Today, many people remember his dream and try to make the world a better place for everyone. Okay, legacy did Martin Luther King leave behind? Yes.
Martin Luther King Day.
We have Martin Luther King Day in honor of Martin Luther King. What else? Yes.
That black and white kids can go to the same school.
that black and white students attend same school. Okay, now let's look at the timeline. Martin Luther King Jr., he went to college in the year of 1948. So we are going to put that right here on our timeline. Martin Luther King, remember we spoke about him giving a speech to 250,000 people? That speech is called I Have a Dream. His I Have a Dream speech was in the year of 1963. And who remembers what state it was in? Yes.
Georgia.
Nope, not Georgia. Yes.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. I don't know if you classify D.C. as a state, but that's for another day. Okay, and unfortunately, Martin Luther King, because of his beliefs, he was assassinated. So someone,
Murdered him.
in the year of 1968, he died. So we're going to go ahead and put that on our timeline. So again, when we speak about the timeline, we always start when a person was born, other events that happened within their life that was important, and also when the person died. There can be a lot of other important events along the way, like if they were to get married, or maybe they had another major speech, or they published a book or something like that. There can be other events that happen. What text structure would you call this text here? It would fall under what text structure if we have all of these dates? Yes.
Chronological order.
Chronological order. Reading this book, we were looking at what Martin Luther King experienced in his childhood, what challenges he experienced growing up, what character traits he may have, and his legacy and what he left behind. And there were a lot of challenges that he faced with racism. He tried his best, but it didn't always work, but he went ahead and got other African American prominent, important people to come and help him with his cause. So he was definitely determined to make his dream happen. Are there any questions?
No.
Okay, good.